elsewhere as well. Like I'm doing a bit of security, so
Yeah. Yeah.
that that keeps me going.
Yeah. That's good.
But yeah, but I hate the 24/7. Like it's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually I got to get out of that. And, I'm not getting any younger.
Of course, yeah. It's at a certain point, and then again, I can't sort of relate on the level that you do because I haven't been in the workforce for probably as long as what you have. But yeah, I guess in a lot of ways, I'm very fortunate in my position to sort of really pivot into something like this. Being, quite young still. So yeah, I guess it is just it's the way of the future really, like in a lot of ways. So it's, better late than never that you're looking into this to really decide, okay, I actually want to do something that's much more self-directed in a sense as well, which means again there's hard work and effort that has to get put in, but in the long run that is actually what's gonna give it to you, obviously, with your kids and family and everything as well. It's going to be great for that also. And on top of that as well, like it's in terms of like with high ticket bridge as well, there's a lot of roles going up in there. I know they are after like, there's a lot of them that are after much more experienced people, but there are quite a few roles in there with appointment setting specifically that, some of those you would probably be able to get into even with even though you haven't been in this for ages and ages. I think your understanding would be enough to be able to land some of those roles. So I guess at the point where you do feel like, okay, I'm ready to get a really official, external role and just try that out for a bit, you could probably do that, because also with doing work for us, again, that's going to give you that experience and skill set. But again, it's like that's a lot of what we're doing as well is the training and that side of things. So it's not going to be like it is an official role, but it's not sort of a different company that has really specific kind of systems and processes that might be for, some more common kind of offers, say for different, some different corporate offers potentially you might find in there. So it's always worth a look. You might find something that really clicks that
Mm.
works into well with what you're doing. So yeah, but in the meantime, we'll be able to do as much as we can to give you that training and develop your skill set more and more to get you in that good position. So it's just you on this call this morning, but what I'm basically going to do is I record all of these anyway. So regardless of if people show up to these calls or if they don't, I'm still recording them and giving them out to, the whole community. The edge that you've got by coming on with me, like actually speaking to me one on one, is at any point you can always ask questions. You can get into more detail about certain things, and ultimately you're going to be in the best position to actually really engage, and if there's certain stuff that I speak about and you want like real life examples, or if specific situations that you've come across that might be helpful, then I can always answer to that as well, which is going to be highly beneficial. So I'll share my screen and just start running through the kind of like little presentation I've got today. And then yeah, if you've got any sort of questions, you can stop me while I'm doing it as well. You don't have to wait till the end. Just simply yell out and get me to refocus on certain things as well. So before I start that, did you have any questions before I start at all? Or are you ready to jump straight into it?
Let's get into it. Be cool.
Awesome. Perfect. So what I'm speaking about today specifically is obviously the other week when we had that live call, that was all about authentic DM setting, and this one today is about it's authentic DM setting, but it's expanding on that and called creating the gap. So the reason it's called creating the gap is because this is the fundamental idea in all DM setting and all sales conversations, that we want to create a gap with all the prospects. So by creating the gap, that simply means getting someone to identify where they're currently at and where they want to get to. Now, that seems very, very simple and very straightforward, but there are some really key things that are involved to actually do this effectively. So, a lot of the time, what this actually does is it makes people realize what it is specifically that they actually want to get to, and it lets them identify what they actually need to do to get there, and what sort of what how far they actually are from their goals. Because a lot of the time, to actually effectively DM set and get bookings you like are set for the closes, or whatever it might be, if you don't actually have that real ability to get the individual to realize, okay, I'm actually in need of support, I'm in need of some kind of service, or something to be able to get me towards my goals, it's very, very difficult to actually get them to take action, because ultimately what we're trying to get someone to do is change. We're not just giving them an offer, we're not giving them a service to utilize. Simply, we're actually getting them to change their behavior and change what it is they're currently doing. Because a lot of people might not even realize that their current situation is that they're just spinning in circles. They're on a flywheel of sorts, on a hamster wheel, sorry. So when they get stuck in that, they don't always realize, okay, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. This is actually why I'm not getting towards my goals quicker. Well, they might believe that they're getting towards their goals, but it's going to take them a very long time to actually get there. When in reality, if you identify, okay, you're helping them identify this, you're really helping them understand, I'm here currently, and if I want to get to here, there's all this space between of skills I need to learn, certain understandings of different theories in sales, or different conversational techniques that they actually need to master in order to get to their goals. And this is again applied specifically to if you're selling some kind of mentorship, or if it's a coaching offer, or even if it is like a business to business kind of like marketing service or something. It is still the same thing fundamentally. You still have an individual or a business that is currently doing something, and they want to achieve XYZ in a year or 2 years from now, and what they're currently doing isn't working. So this is when it comes very, very relevant in DM setting, because again, every business will have some kind of appointment setting sort of role or process that they actually go through. Sometimes it's AI processes, sometimes it's actual people, cold calling, it might be call confirmation. It can just be pure like tech support. There's a lot of different ways that it's actually presented. So this having this method down pat where you create the gap, this will increase the quality of the leads. It'll increase total bookings, resulting in more deals closed. And again, this is not just for our internal offers here, it is for any external sales roles that you might land. So this in itself is something that you want to do in every single conversation you have when you're DM setting, or even in closing. I like the phrase, as an appointment setter, you want to think like a closer, because the closer is just the one that's actually getting them to make that decision and take that action. But as an appointment setter, you're the one that's actually articulating with them what it is that they might be lacking, or what they need to do, or what they need to actually change. So you still want to have that sales mindset of, okay, I'm going to help this individual identify where they're at, where they want to get to, and what that's going to actually look like in the middle. How we're going to get there. What's the vehicle for them to achieve that? So the reason why most setters get ignored or ghosted is purely because they can jump straight into pitching or asking for a call. They can talk too much about the features of the offer, and they don't make the conversation about the prospect's actual pain and goals. So these specific things here, these are all too common, and even good appointment setters can still make these mistakes, because they can feel like that they can skip a few steps and try and get straight into pitching or selling, or wanting to talk about the features of the offer, because they've actually lost where they're at in the conversation with the prospect. So a general rule that I always like to say is, you don't want to speak about anything about the offer until you can actually get the individual to identify what their current situation is and where they want to get to. Because if we don't even know where they want to get to and what their goals are, our offer is completely irrelevant. And any other offer for any other business, it's completely irrelevant if their goals aren't actually going to be aligned with what service we can provide to them to achieve that. Because that's ultimately, it's an unqualified lead. If someone has goals that aren't aligned with what we can help them with, then it's irrelevant, because we can't help them. And if we can't help somebody, we're not going to try and sell them anything. Because if we try and sell them, they're all of a sudden going to feel like, oh, they don't even understand my situation. That doesn't go back on us at all because that just means that we're just trying to get money. So we don't feel good about ourselves. The prospect doesn't feel good about themselves. So it's always about having really clearly identified current situations and targets and goals that they actually want to get to. So the solution to this is creating the gap, and more specifically an emotional gap, because a lot of the time you might have people, and again, I've worked in countless different industries in the past where people have specifically been in situations where they do have their current situation they're not very happy with, but they don't actually have set goals in the future that they 100% want to achieve. Oliver, how are you?
Hi Ed, how are we?
I'm doing very,
Hey,
very well. I was just getting started. You haven't missed too much yet. So if there's anything that I'm explaining specifically that doesn't make sense, please yell out. Basically what we're
Okay.
talking about today is just creating the gap in DM settings. So again, you'd
Mm,
be pretty on top of this. You've done a lot of appointment setting in the past. This is
yep,
purely about having people identify what their current situation is and what their goals are, and how we actually get that articulated and clear in appointment setting conversations. So
this is
what what
perfect.
I've what I've basically been saying is to Steve so far is that the reason that a lot of people get ghosted is because they're not properly identifying with the individual what it is that they're currently doing and what their long-term goals are. So we can't even position what we're offering or what our service is as something that's going to help them in the first place. So if you're in a situation where you're trying to sell something to somebody that they don't even need in the first place, it's going on deaf ears. So it is extremely pardon me, it's extremely important that we actually do articulate that clearly with them and have them truly say, okay, this is what I want to get to. This is what I've been doing currently. So we can then position ourselves in the middle and help them get from their current situation to their long-term goals. So that all goes into creating the gap for them and really having them understand what that is. So um, like I was saying, Steve, sorry, is that basically what the industries that I've been in the past. So I used to sell marketing services to different trade businesses in Australia, and I was on a lot of calls where I'd be speaking to guys that are in their 50s, in their 60s, and they've got, different sorts of trade businesses like landscaping businesses, for example. And these guys, they weren't happy with their current situation. So I would be in there, saying, hey, the what you're currently doing, it seems like it's not working. If you want more customers, you need to get on top of your marketing by doing Facebook ads or certain types of outreach, or Google ads, whatever it might be. But then I would quickly realize on those calls that they didn't actually want to grow in the first place. So it was completely useless what I was saying to them, because they were in their 50s and 60s. They're looking to get out of the business in the first place. They're not even looking to actually grow the business anymore. They just want to coast and make things a little bit easier for themselves. They just want to make their life a little bit easier, but they didn't actually have that long-term mindset, because they're nearing retirement. They were nearly out of it. So I found myself misidentifying what they actually wanted, because I wasn't getting into enough detail with them, saying, what actually is it that you want out of the business? Do you want to get more customers? Do you want the business to grow? Or do you just want to make your life a little bit easier? Do you just want to stay where you are with the business, but hopefully be able to take yourself out of a couple different roles maybe, and, have more free time? That was what I needed to focus on. And that was a bit of a learning curve, because in my head, I was assuming that, okay, these guys want to grow their businesses. They want to, have twice as many customers. They want to do X, Y, Z in the future, because I wasn't properly speaking to them about what they wanted. I wasn't identifying their pain points, and I wasn't identifying their long-term goals. So this is where you really, really need to focus on doing that properly. You want to create that emotional gap. What are they doing right now that they are not happy with or not hasn't been working? And where do they want to get to? And how do we actually bridge that gap for them? So every single prospect you message has a current situation and a desired future. And again, this can seem like very, very simple sales ideas, but it is so important. And a lot of the time, this in itself can be the reason why a lot of people can miss out on so many different deals and not able to book in calls, is because they're skipping this phase because it is so simple. A lot of people can just look past it and just get straight into conversations and won't actually spend the time. So yes, I do, Oliver. I'm going to record this as well, so you'll be able to watch over it. And I can share this document for you as well. I'll give you all access to this afterwards as well, so you've got it handy. So the most of what I've got written here is most people live in limbo. They don't actually know how to move from point A to point B, or they might be in a situation where they think they're in X current situation and they think they want to get to Z, but they've misidentified exactly what that looks like or what is the reason for it. People think they might be in their current situation because of a number of different reasons, but they've misinterpreted it. So we're there to actually help them realize, okay, you've been trying this, this, and this in the past, but that hasn't actually gotten you closer towards your goals. Oh, maybe in the future you want to have this, but that might be unrealistic, or maybe it is realistic, but is that actually going to solve the emotional problem that you've got? So that's why I'm saying here it's the emotional gap. Because for a lot of the time, people think they want something, but in reality, the actual thing that's going to give them that emotional fulfillment can be completely different. And again, that's nothing. That's nothing to diss with the prospect. It can just be them not having a true understanding of what it is they need to do. So in our situation, if we're applying it directly to this, if we have someone that's wanting to make that, like you guys, if you're wanting to make that pivot into high ticket sales, you do have that intention to get there and be able to make really good money in 6 to 12 months or whatever it might be, but you might not necessarily realize, okay, for me to get there, I need to have these different skills mastered. I have to have good conversational skills. I have to have good body language. I have to have the ability to listen properly. There can be a number of little key things that people might not even realize that they need to have in the first place. So that is where we can come in and actually say to people, hey, these are the key things you need to have in place for you to actually get to that outcome in the long term. And then that's when we can actually identify for them, okay, well, does that long-term goal, is that going to be something that solves the problems you've got in your life? Does that actually fulfill you emotionally? Do you want something where you can just make some easy money and then not care about the rest of things and just go home and, not do much else? Or are you wanting something where you can actually apply yourself for 12 hours a day? Because some people love working. Some people want to do this kind of thing as much as they possibly can. So if that's the case, okay, cool. That's going to look a bit different to the person that only wants to work 4 hours a day. Maybe appointment setting and closing is not for you. If you only want to work 4 hours a day, this might not be for you because that's not how it works in this industry. And just being honest with people. And this is where it goes back to authentic DM setting. We are being authentic and we're actually saying to people, okay, this is what it takes to get to X, Y, Z future situation. This is what it takes. If this is something that you feel like is actually going to fulfill you in the long term, awesome. We can talk about what happens from here. We can talk about how we'd actually get you there, how your life is going to look 12 months from now if you follow these things. So again, this all goes back to just being very, very clear with what they're doing and what they actually want to get to in the future. So if we're applying this directly towards our what we're doing here at Blue Ocean Closes, and again, both of you guys are, moving into that position where you can, you can work for us. That's something that I always hold. If that's something you want to commit to, we can definitely do that. So what that actually looks like for us as well is like when we're speaking to prospects and we're appointment setting, we're positioning our different offers. So we've obviously got our main offer, which is now 4K. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that price increase. So you both came on at a hell of a bargain for this. So that's the 4K main, what we're doing. And then the 1.5K high ticket bridge offer, that is purely just high ticket bridge access. That's no one-on-one support at all. That is just opportunities through high ticket bridge for people that maybe have experience already. So this means that the appointment setting process is going to be a little bit different based on which one it is. And the actual way that we're doing this now is when we speak to people, we're simply just saying to them, hey, like what situation are you in? Like, do you have experience, or are you actually looking for something that's going to help you develop your skills and give you that experience in the long term? You know, do you need more direct one-on-one support with this, or do you have the experience already and able to apply them into some different roles? So that's why we're helping them actually identify what it is, because I don't want to sit there, and you guys probably won't want to sit there messaging somebody and saying, hey mate, you need one-on-one support training, even though you've been in sales for 10 years and you've done 3 million cash collected. Like, that would just completely destroy any chance we've got of actually being able to help them. So before we even start talking about anything about what we do, we want to actually speak to the individual and find out what it is that they want help with. Is their current situation that they're just struggling to find new roles? Are they struggling to find an offer that actually is something that they enjoy? Are they struggling with all the different, sort of scams or shit offers, or all these different things that might come their way that isn't actually suited towards what they want to do? We want to find out exactly what it is and then be able to position our different ways of helping them in front of them to say, hey, if you're currently doing this and that's actually what you want in the future, this is how this specifically is going to help you. And that's going to actually have them realize, oh, okay, this will be helpful for me. We're not just giving them a cookie cutter offer that is saying, do this and that. It's so great because we do this, and then start listing out all the features. They don't give a fuck. These people do not care. They only want something that is going to actually help them. So it doesn't matter how much you try and push something if it doesn't actually help the individual. So the best way of doing this is just guiding them to realize the gap on their own, which comes down to questioning them. So just asking different questions. This is all in discovery. This is exactly what discovery is asking them different questions. Oh, what have you done in the past? What are you currently doing right now? Like, where did you get stuck in the past? Like, how long have you actually been trying to solve this? How long have you been looking for new roles? How many different like offers have been presented to you to spend 10, 15K on something that you don't actually believe in? Just finding out specifically what they've done already to help them realize, okay, I've been trying this and this and it hasn't worked because I want to get to there, and I simply need something to take me from here to here. And that might be just some opportunities that are legit through High Ticket Bridge. It might just be doing that bit of role playing with someone that can jump on calls with them, get that extra bit of practice in, and then jump into a role if they're brand new. There's a number of different situations and pathways that people might want to take, and it's our job to help them realize and actually understand, okay, what is going to be the thing that's going to help them the most. So another sort of thing that I've just written down here that's quite important that I think about a lot is, if you're in that situation where you're appointment setting and you're thinking like, oh, what this person's just going to be thinking like, why is this guy just messaging me? Why is this guy just trying to, help me out so much? That seems a bit suspicious. But in reality, like, when you're talking to a prospect, your interests are aligned if you're actually there to help them. Because at the end of the day, you're helping the individual by achieving and getting something that they want out of their life. And you're also helping yourself and you're helping the business be able to generate revenue by getting a new customer. You'd never want to feel like that you are sort of being sly or you're being sneaky with how you're offering things. The only time that people feel like that, and they feel like that they have that sort of that salesy kind of like sort of discontentness with themselves, is if they're offering the wrong thing and if they're speaking to the prospect in a way that's purely trying to take their money. You're not actually helping them genuinely, because if you're actually trying to help the individual, that is when interests are 100% aligned. They get something out of it, you get something out of it, everyone's happy and everyone's a winner. So what I've got written here is that like it is your job to find people who have the potential to be professionals in high ticket sales or might already be professionals in it, and you can either get them working for us to get that experience and skill set, or provide them to another company and again get money from this. They get new opportunities from it. There's a lot of different things that it's going to help them as well as help us as well. So just always remember that it is a two-way street. You're not just there to take their money and treat them like a customer. You can deliver something for them that is actually going to help them. So Oliver, go ahead. Did you get a certain kind of DM that you want help
Y-
with?
Yeah, just a quick one. I posted like a message in the school community. It was the Sales Dojo, I think it's called. So I got one DM, but he was expressing interest. He said, I saw your post in the Closers Network about you looking for closers. I'm interested to start. Let's book a call so we can get started. So he's already ready to jump on a call, but I'm not sure what to do here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So what to me that sounds like, and again, I didn't see exactly the post you made because we are sort of changing them a little bit. So make sure that you've got the most updated version of the DM setting script to make sure that those job posts are actually, aligned with what we can offer people. But basically, to me, it sounds like that he doesn't actually know that we have a service that we're offering. So he
Yep.
might be under the impression that is purely just a job role. And initially, like months ago, we were taking a sort of frame that wasn't clear enough for people that it was an actual service and product that we were offering. So people were under the impression that, oh, this is just a job opportunity. So we have since changed that, and that might actually be coming down to the kind of post that you made. It might not be clear enough that we are offering a service, a paid service to people that's going to help them get to XYZ. So there's a certain way of actually framing that. So do you have the specific post that it was that you made? Because I think we might be able to
Yeah.
identify in that what we could add into that or what we might want to remove to actually give that extra clarity.
Yeah, I can show you my screen just quickly.
Yeah, go
Uh,
ahead.
I've written it down in my Notion. So this is it. Can you see my screen?
Um, yes. Oh, so yep, cool, got it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So that
Mm.
seems like that it is very specific to like just hiring. So there's not enough I guess like there's not enough understanding for the prospect that this is a paid service that we're offering. So again, I'll give you a newer version of the DM setting script that does get changed. But if you've made your own copy, then again, you might not actually see that any changes made. Give me one moment here.
Okay.
I'll send you through. I can send you through two different ones as well because I've got this version here that I've just sent through the chat, and then
Okay.
Daniel's also made another copy as well. That'll be even more specific. So on this, I'm just having a look. Cool. Yeah. So I'll share my screen again here and show it
Oh, yeah.
a different style of job posting that you can actually make. So something like this is going to be a much more specific kind of post that you can make where you're still offering the opportunities that they get, but also saying that, hey, this is like it's a service as well. Because ultimately, if we are being clear and saying to people, hey, this opportunity does mean that you get a role through it, but in order to get to that, there's certain things that you'll have to do. So either it might be, training, mentorship, or it might just be getting access to our network in the first place. So it's very, very important that you are clear in that fact because again, even if it is harder to get people to engage, it's pointless anyway if we're getting people messaging us thinking it's just a job opportunity because they're never going to close in the first place. So we'd rather give an indication that, okay, this is a service, this is something that, will cost money. But again, we want to be as authentic as possible. So those
Because
posts I would say definitely try this. And again, you can reword things a little bit. I would suggest rewording things just a little bit. So then it's not the same thing recycled, just in case anyone else has used something similar to this. But yeah, just making sure that we're authentic with people. So you can even just open it by saying like instead of saying we're hiring, saying we're looking for beginners and experienced setters and closers. We have six-figure opportunities through our network and the ability to work for us. Like that is intriguing. That's gonna get people's attention. They're gonna see that and be like, oh, okay, that's awesome. So for the individual that already has the experience, we don't want to try and sell them onto our main offer in the first place because they might not need one-on-one training. They might not need mentorships, but we've got the high ticket bridge opportunities. So that might be something that they're very interested in. On the other hand, if someone doesn't have the experience, they might be really interested in actually getting, one-on-one support, attending group calls, having all the content, becoming an actual appointment setter by working with us, becoming a closer with us. So we can speak to whatever individual it is, no matter what, pretty much. Like we can, and again, we don't want to sort of make this cookie cutter, but in a way, we can help just about everybody. The only people we can't help is people that don't want to help themselves. That's it. So what I highly suggest is using a different post like this, and I think that's gonna make a really big difference for you as well. So you can try that out a bit, try and get it in front of as many people as possible, and then see what the responses are from that as well.
okay. So do you think like putting it in about 5 school communities would be like enough on?
You five, you'll get something. You wanna try and do as much as possible. A lot of guys as well are going into Facebook groups and doing it, so that can be
Oh,
very effective. That can be very, very good as well if you put it in Facebook groups, because again, you don't have limitations from school. There's nothing that you can sort of cause. I know, Steve, you had some accounts banned on school, and again, that can happen. So what you want to do is, yeah, get it on the Facebook groups because they can be great as well. And also in school groups, you can still do that, but you're going to be limited by the different algorithms that are going to prevent certain stuff.
okay.
So
So what's a daily benchmark do you think a day like I can aim for?
I would say if you can, and again, this can be from just direct messaging from the post. I would say that if you can have 10 different conversations a day, that's plenty. That's very, very good. And that might seem like it is a lot, but if you actually sat and you spent even just 2 hours a day, all you're doing is DM setting, you should be able to generate 10 conversations a day. If you do nothing else but appointment set for 2 hours, you should be able to achieve that. And at the moment, in terms of like kind of targets that the other guys are doing. One of our other members, Piyush, he managed to book, I think last week he managed to book, I think 12 calls, which is again very good. That's not 12 conversations, that's 12 calls. So he was able to go in and speak to as many people as possible. And again, just post in as many different groups as possible about what we're doing. And what I can even do for you guys is I can get some examples of the conversations and posts that he made and just show them to you so you've actually got understanding of, okay, this is a different frame. This is how you might want to do it. This, can be very, very helpful as well. So I'll be able to do that also. What I might even do is add them just into that DM setting document, just some more examples of those for you to look at, and then yeah, you'll be able to access that and see those examples. Because yeah, I'd say if you can have 10 new conversations a day, that'd be awesome. Oliver's disappeared, but that's all good. I'm sure he'll jump back in now. I'll just give him a sec to rejoin. Does that all make sense for you so far as well, Steve? Like the kind of understanding of actually speaking to individuals on a personal level. Like we don't even want to mention, that we're our offers this, this, and this, and we're doing all of this because we actually want to find out in the first place, are they facing a problem? What is this? What is their long-term goal they actually want to get to?
Yeah, yeah, heaps. It makes heaps sense, and I've noticed that I've had heaps of people like they try and have conversations with me, and they're doing exactly what you're talking about, where they're pitching straight away,
Yeah,
and it's like, oh my goodness, what are you doing? Like
yeah, it's
it's really
crazy.
annoying. Yeah.
Yeah, and because then you sit there, and I get it all the time. Like even my DMs get flooded with different people that are trying to offer all sorts of things. Like I'll literally pull up a couple right now and just read out what people send to me because they're jumping immediately into just pitching, So like this guy, for example, he said, "Hey Ed, saw you're looking for a DM setter on school. I've been doing this full time for 2 years and have worked with coaches, blah blah blah, and I thought I'd reach out." Like he's just straight away like that's not a terrible one, but he's still just saying, you know, I can help this and this and this. This is what I've done. Like, let's chat. And I'm like, you don't even know what I want. Like, you're not even identifying anything about what I want, what I'm doing, what I might have done in the past. And he's just going straight for it. And that doesn't, I see that and I'm what do you think? What do you think's gonna happen? Like, oh, anyway, I'll see if I can find another one. It's another example. Because yeah, it happens all the time. Um, there's a guy that keeps messaging me on Thingo. Account. Oh yeah, here's another one. Hey bro, I'm a video editor and it looks like that you could use a real hand with that. Do you want to have a chat? And it's like it's just going straight into it and it's like A, how does he even know that I need a video editor? B, does he even know like what if I maybe already have one that I'm already using? And C, like is it's nothing about like what I'm doing. Is it specific to what I'm offering specifically? Like there's no I saw that and I'm like, nah, like I'm all good. I'm not even gonna look at that because this person hasn't taken the time to you can just tell it's copy pasted. And that's the last thing you want is that to just to feel like that someone's copy pasted messages and they're just blasting it out to you. So yeah, it's you can get a lot of knowledge and value literally just from seeing what people send to you in the first place and being like, okay, that made me feel weird. I'm not going to do that. So what I've got here on my screen now is an actual step by step of how you might want to do this. So when you first start out, like, is it just you can always do some kind of question about their situation. Again, it's not about what you do, how you help other people. It's just asking them, do they have a problem or are they in a situation where they're actually looking for some help? So an example of this might be, hey, if you've actually made a job post already, hey, hey Jonathan, like or if this was again to whoever, hey Jonathan, thanks for expressing your interest in us. Just a quick one. Are you currently working in a role or are you looking to start a serious high ticket role? So we're just straight away finding out, okay, are they an individual that has experience maybe that they're looking for a role or are they actually looking to start in high ticket sales in the first place? So we're straight away identifying, okay, what do they actually want? What is it that they want in the first place before we even get into anything about this? Then that's when we move into actually uncovering their current situation. So that's when we're going to completely reframe things and say, okay, that makes sense. So, what's been the biggest challenge with finding something legit online so far? Has it been from lack of clarity, fear of scams, or poor past experiences? We're actually uncovering the problems that they've faced already. So we understand, okay, maybe they've already tried this, maybe they've already tried that. We don't want to be in a situation where we're saying, okay, perfect, this is what we do. We help people X, Y, Z. Does that sound good to you? Because we don't even understand what they want in the first place. So that's when we want to tap into their goal after that. So after we've identified, okay, what do they want? That's when we can find out, okay, if you had your ideal setup, what would it look like? More income, flexibility, ability to travel. So we're getting them to articulate what it is that they want specifically. We're not giving people a goal. We're having them articulate what their goals are specifically, what it is that they want. We never want to be in a situation where we're providing people with an outcome that we think that they want. We want them to actually word it, because then later on you can go back and say, earlier on you mentioned that you're wanting more flexibility with your schedule. What does that look like specifically? Or if you're actually at the point of pitching, you're mentioning that you're wanting more flexibility, their goal. This is how we've helped people similar to you. That's how you'd want to go back and reframe it. So you're never going back and saying, yeah, so like I'm assuming that you're wanting XYZ. This is how we help people. You want to be able to use their words specifically that they've said to then have your own response back to it. So now that they're starting to envision like a better future, we've actually created that gap. We've identified what it is that they've currently been doing, what they've tried, and what they want in the future. So now that we've got that gap, now when we're actually presenting what we can do, it doesn't seem like we're just purely pitching to them, because we can then say to them, like, it sounds like there's a bit of a gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Curious if you've actually got a plan to get there. So again, we're not going straight into like, this is what you need to do, this is how we help, this is why you need to spend your money with us. We're asking them, do they have a plan to get there in the first place? Because some people might already have some kind of plan. So if they do have a plan already, that's when you can help them identify, okay, so if you want to get to there and you're currently expecting to, do X, Y, Z to get there, do you think that's going to get you there in 6 months? Do you think that's going to get you there in 5 years? Do you think that's going to get you there within 2 weeks? We can find out in more detail if they actually are backing that plan or if they need more help with actually getting there. Because some people might then say, "Oh, like I that's my plan currently, but it's very very slow." For example, this is a 2 year plan. So that's when you can say to them, for sure, like there is actually, based on the people we've worked with, there is a way of doing this much, much faster, but usually it involves X, Y, Z. You're just giving them that clarity and you are really helping them understand, because you're in that position where you've actually been able to live out, okay, this is what I needed to do to get to whatever goals I have. This might be helpful for you as well. So, some of the common responses that people have, if you ask them if you've got a plan to get there, they'll either say, not really, I've tried some stuff, but nothing's worked. I can't find a legit role. And again, this is specific to our offer as well. So once they actually identify what it is that they're struggling with or what they've tried that hasn't worked, this is when you've actually got the opening. So this is when you can actually sort of like half pitch to them or just be able to say, hey, we do help people by doing this. People similar to you, this is how we can help. Like if this is something that seems like it aligns for you, if you feel like this is going to get you towards your goals, we're more than happy to help you. And this is how we do it. So what you always want to do as well is saying that it's not just them that's in this situation. There's a whole number of different people that are also in that same position that they're in. So this is when you can refer and say, that's what most people experience. And we've worked with a lot of people that are similar to you. So this is when we can say to them again, typically we'll either show them on the inside of our private network with legit companies, and I'm more than happy to set you up with a quick call to see if it's something that you're interested in. So instead of saying, I'm going to book you onto a call so we can show you XYZ that's guaranteed to get you towards your goals, you're still saying to them, hey, this is how we've helped people in your situation. this is what it looks like. And if it's something you're interested in, then, we can jump on a call together, and I can set you up with one of the team members and they can just run through some of those details. Then you get to decide if it's something that's actually going to help you. You're still keeping it very open. You're not forcing them to do anything. You're just saying how you can help and how that help might be able to help them and help them achieve their goals. So, if they say yes, that's something I'm interested in, then you say, cool. Again, you can reword this completely to how you want to. But an example would be, cool. I just want to make sure that you're aware that if you do like the sound of everything, that our team member you speak with on Zoom or when you speak to me on Zoom, I'll get you onto a follow-up call after that to discuss how we'd start. So again, you don't want to position that first call as a sale. You want to position that first call as just being able to show what we can do and speaking to them and seeing, what might be aligned for them. And then if they feel like that everything aligns and that they like the idea of it, you'll then set up another call to discuss how you'd actually start. Because this, again, then reinforces for people that by jumping on a call, they're not just going to get hard sold to. That is very, very important because people, again, they might want to jump on a call, just get some information, get some understanding of, in more detail, how they're going to get to their goals. That first call, the whole purpose of it is actually just finding out if it's something that's definitely going to help them. And this is why we've actually broken up our sales process into two separate calls. We've got a discovery call and then a demo call. So the discovery call, that first one is discovery. We're just finding out, is what we can do something that aligns for them? Are they interested in what we can do in the first place? And only then we'll discuss, okay, this is how you'd actually make a start with it. This is how you'd be able to utilize what we're doing. And that, again, that's a second call. That's not what we're going to do on the first call. We're not going to sell to them immediately on that first call. So, and again, this is when if someone says, "Oh, is this a paid opportunity? Is this, like what are you gonna like? Are you guys gonna try and sell to me on the first call or whatever it might be?" Again, you can just provide them with that transparency, total authentic transparency, and say the second call would be discussing any access via our paid service. So it's all good if you decide not to pursue the opportunities further at the end of the first call. We'd rather just give you transparency around this now so you're aware ahead of time. Does that all sound good? And again, this sort of frame is helping people feel like, oh, awesome. I can get on a call, I can take all the information, and then I can decide for myself. I can then go and go over any details and have a think about it. The best thing you can do in sales is just having people feel like they've got all the control in the world. Because they do. We're just helping them get to there and we're helping them actually get to an outcome that works best for both parties, for us and for them as well. So again, be completely transparent. Say, if you feel like it's good, we'll be able to discuss what that would be like on the second call. If you feel like it's not going to help you and you're not interested, that's all good as well. We won't get you onto a follow-up call. That first call is just going to be outlining everything, and then you get to decide. You get to decide if this is something that's going to be worthwhile for you. Does that sound good? Awesome, cool. Everyone's on the same page. Sweet. So that is completely the frame you always want to take. So for internal BOC offers, so if you're wanting to apply this directly, appointment setting with us, so what you can do again to kind of give them that clarity is just knowing that if someone's a complete beginner, we want to guide them towards the 4K mentorship offer, which is one-on-one support, skill building, guaranteed job placement with us. That is what you want to lean them more towards. And again, when you guys do start closing, if you decide to start closing with us as well, this is when we've got a whole nother set of processes pretty much with different documents that we send through to people, different offer documents for them to have a look over and for them to decide if that's actually what they want to do. And then if it's immediate reps, as in people that have experience, that simply just want that access in the first place, that's when we steer them towards the high ticket bridge offer, which again is private network access, group calls, external job opportunities. And if someone expresses a big goal like earning six figures online in an appointment setting or closing role, and they've got no real pathway or support, it's your job to position the right offer in between to actually get them from their current situation to what their goals are. Because again, we can't go into a conversation with someone that's got experience and we're trying to offer them sales training, trying to offer them one-on-one support because they probably don't want it. They probably don't want it and they probably don't need it either. So if we say to people, hey, to me, it seems like you've already got some experience. It seems like that what you've been struggling with, and again, referring back to what they've been struggling with, you simply need some better opportunities. Does this sound about right to you? They will confirm yes. Or if they're a beginner, you're saying to them, hey, to me, it seems like that you still need to develop your skill set to be able to land one of these roles in the future. Perfect, awesome. That's definitely going to be more down the lines of getting one-on-one support and developing your skills, and then we can look at external opportunities in the future or working with us in the future. So when you're setting when you're doing DM setting for people outside of Blue Ocean Closes, again, you might be in a whole different range of industries and offers. You still want to use the gap method. Nothing changes at all. This is not specific just to us here with the offers that we've got at Blue Ocean Closes. These methods you're going to be using no matter what in any kind of DM setting role that you have. You're still going to use that same gap method. This is just sales 101. You still want to make the conversation about them. You still want to position the offer as the solution to their unique pain points, whether it's fitness coaching, business consulting, SaaS. This formula works because you're being authentic. You're actually speaking to the individual in a way that's going to help them. And if you can master this, it's going to make you like it's going to make you an absolute pro at any conversation. You know exactly what to say. You have something to follow, and you know straight away, okay, I'm not going to pitch whatever I'm doing until I actually understand what they're currently doing and where they actually want to get to. So the mindset that you want to have is you're here to guide them, not push them. People don't want pressure, they just need perspective. So your job is to reveal the gap with them, help them feel what it is, and actually offer a solution that fits. It's not about just simply offering to them, it's helping them understand what that gap is and then being able to position what we do as being suitable for them. Because you might have people in DMs where you're trying to understand that gap that they've got, and then you realize, oh, this isn't actually something that we can help with, or oh, this isn't actually this isn't suited towards them, or they don't even want the kind of outcome that we can provide to them. Because again, we're offering specifically what we're offering, so we only want to be speaking to people and making offers to people that we know we can help. That's the most important thing. We actually need to make sure we can help them in the first place. So, final just recap of all of this is really good setters and great setters don't pitch. They just create the gap. They help the individual realize what it is that they need to do to get to the goals that they have. And then it's positioning the right offer in front of them that's going to help them get towards this. So whether it's with us or an external role, the strategy is the exact same. You're not just booking calls, you're helping them change their life by guiding them out of stuck situations and getting them towards what they want to achieve. So if you can use this framework and just practice it and refine it and master it, that's going to actually give you that kind of momentum and that really autonomous understanding of, okay, this is how we want to approach every single conversation in DMs. It's going to be the same thing every time. It's going to be the same language in a different font, no matter who we're speaking with. So that is it for this DM setting process. I'm sure that there was a lot of this that you probably maybe knew already, and there's other parts that you feel like that, okay, perfect, that's the kind of frame that I want to take. This is what I want to improve on. So, did you have any specific questions or any conversations maybe that you've had already that you want a bit of guidance with, where you're not sure exactly what kind of responses that you're meant to have, or anything like that?
No, I think that's been pretty helpful for me actually. Like I've yeah, I'm I mean, just going through this is a kind of a good, really good kind of frame and yeah, a flow to the conversation, and it just makes it really kind of easy, kind of where you need to go. Um, I think often you can. I've been lost in conversations before, so
Yeah.
it's like, or I take too long in a certain kind of area, and you kind of miss, where you need to be. So I think this kind of helps.
Perfect. That's good. And what I'll do right now is I'll send this directly to your email so you can look at it. And again, this whole call is recorded as well, so you can watch over it, focus on certain things as well. And yeah, you'll notice in all of your conversations now that you might have that it's going to be the same kind of process, no matter what, you're going in there and actually helping the individual like on a very like authentic level, because that's ultimately what it is. We're not just here to try and get customers, we're actually here to help people. That's the only reason we want to get customers in the first place. It's because we can help them. Because if we couldn't actually help people, then it wouldn't make any sense for either of us to have a good customer for us, because we're not going to have a good customer. They're not going to get the help that they want. Therefore, they're not actually going to get the help in the first place. So there's no point just trying to get those calls booked without getting that understanding in the first place, because then nobody wins. We might get refunds, we might get chargebacks. They might be left with a bad taste in their mouth because they weren't given that clarity that they actually wanted. And that's really what differentiates like a good setter with a great setter, is the people that can actually speak on an authentic level with everybody. And this is again, like I might just be biased being Australian, but I feel like our Australian culture, we are much better with actually having conversation with people and doing that in an authentic way. I often find, and again, it might just be my bias, but I find if I get DM'd on Instagram or any platforms, if it's an Aussie, I know straight away if it is them, because they're actually conversational and they're speaking to me on a personal level. They're not just saying, "Hey, I do this, this, and this. It seems like you need help. Like, should we have a chat?" I straight away I'm like, nah, get away from me. Like I'm not interested. But if you come in and you're actually saying, hey man, I saw this, this, and this, like I'm interested in what you're doing. What have you been trying in the past? Whereabouts are you getting stuck? I've been in a similar position to you, and I found that, I kept getting stuck with this. Is this the same as yourself? Is this a pain point that you've also had in the past? Just being like conversational, the same as how you'd speak to someone in real life. Doesn't change just because we're on DMs. We still want to treat
Mm.
it as like somebody that actually has a problem that we can potentially help them with. So that's going to be massively helpful for you in the long term as well. Is your email just Steve R. Blue Ocean Closes, or is it Steve and R?
Yeah, Steve.
Steve R.
Yeah, and if you can send me the previous document as well, that
For sure.
would be
Yeah.
good.
The DM setting
Oh, the
SOPs, or the
DM. Yep.
previous, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Cool. I've invited you to that. And then this one here, I'll put the link in the Zoom chat here, and then you can, once you've got it, you'll be able to like just bookmark it on your browser, and then you'll be able to have access to it. I've sent it there already in the chat.
Yeah.
Do you have the link in the
Yeah.
chat there?
Yeah. I've got that one. Yeah, I'm talking about the other Notion document. So that for the last training, have you got that one as well?
I do, yes. I will give that to you as well. Sweet. Cool. Awesome. Cool. Email that to you as well. And then what I'll I see that Oliver just commented before, share examples of successful DMs. I'll be able to do that for you guys as well, I'll just get some examples of the other setters that have been successful with booking a lot of calls. And I'll actually just add them into the DM setting document. You know, I'll create like a little folder with all of those
Sweet.
different ones and actually just show how that looks in the first place. Along with the job postings specifically, or the job postings. With that, again, we are leaning away from just having them as just job posts. We want to say to people, hey, there are job opportunities through this, but those job opportunities are through paid programs. But again, we're not wanting to say pay for what we're doing. We're wanting to frame it in a way specifically that's saying, you know, we have a private network of job opportunities, and we've also got mentorship. You can gain access to those roles or roles with us by speaking to us. You know, we've got a process for that. And then in the DMs, that's when you'll get into more understanding of, okay, are they someone that's got experience where they want to be able to get just direct opportunities, or do they actually want a bit more one-on-one support as well? So yeah, I'll be able to help with both of those.
Awesome.
Perfect. I'll leave you to it, Steve. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. And yeah, if you have any questions at any time, please just let me know. And yeah, Gavin's always there to jump on the one-on-one calls with. He said you've been going well in those as well. So yeah, that's going to be massively helpful for you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it.
Perfect. See you later. Speak
All
soon.
right, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.